You're listening to Finn Voices on Healthcare Now Radio, where we highlight and amplify the voices at the forefront of health innovation that improves people's lives. Join us for an inside look at the changemakers driving conversation and answering the most important questions in healthcare today. Thanks for joining us. This is your host, Joe Foster, and I'm a partner at the global marketing and communications firm Finn Partners, and I'm based in Portland, Oregon. Welcome to Finn Voices and our first show of 2023. I hope everyone is happy and healthy out there in Radioland. Today, we have a very special guest on our show, a gentleman by the name of Jack Choi. Jack is a pioneer in the digitalization of human anatomy and the founder and CEO of Anatomage. Jack founded the company based in Santa Clara, California, 11 years ago. In a nutshell, Anatomage brings the world's first life-size virtual human dissection table to life. The company, an innovator in the digitalization of human anatomy, is the first and only company that has replicated the entire anatomy of the human body in digital form. But Anatomage is more than a digital anatomy table. It's a digital healthcare platform dedicated to improving the quality of life for people. This health innovation brings accurate medical solutions to healthcare providers while also inspiring the next generation of health professionals across the globe by providing the most diverse, complete, and accurate digital anatomy of the human body. Anatomage products and services are used for education and product development and clinical applications, including the diagnosis and treatment of medical conditions. Customers range from teachers and their students to prestigious medical schools and healthcare systems. At Finn Voices, we specialize in offering a peek behind the curtain of innovation with the healthcare sector's leading change makers. Well, today our guest is a change maker on many fronts, a trifecta of change, you might say, with products and services that not only focus on better health outcomes, but also tech and next generation education. Before we meet Jack, I have to say, I had the pleasure of working with Jack and his team at Anatomage over the last few months, and I've never worked with a nicer group of people. My point being, you're not only on the forefront of medical education, but you're also creating a culture of people that genuinely care about making a difference in the world. Also a Finn Partners value, and we hold that close to our heart. Everyone, please meet Jack Choi. Jack, it's a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me.
So Jack, before we dig into Anatomage and what you're doing now, let's first get a better sense of about you and your background. How did you end up here and what brought you to Anatomage?
Right. So I got my PhD degree from Carnegie Mellon University back in 1996. So at that time, I thought about what I should do next. Then, I decided maybe starting company may be the right direction. So that was the when I made up my mind to start my company. And now, after 26 years, I'm here.
And what made you focus on anatomy, or was it the technology that was the thing that attracted you most?
So when I started company, I tried several different things. I have a more passion about starting company. And I tried the medical imaging software. I tried some kind of online-based video technology. And also I tried to sell online shoes company kind of thing. But the other one didn't make any progress. But medical imaging part of my software made progress. So that organically grow over the years.
And what do you consider like some of the most difficult obstacles that you've had to overcome in the last 11 years?
Yeah, there are a lot of, actually it is 18 years, not 11 years.
Got it.
So, every startup is going through a lot of challenges. Of course, I have to go through the same challenges. What business work? How do we stand out from nobody to somebody? And then also, how do we actually grow and expand our business? Those are all very common challenges. But what I thought one of the challenges, we were just nobody, very hard to nobody recognize us, and then I tried to build something that is very unique, something that really appeals to the customer, and by creating very strong visual three-dimensional anatomy, we start to get recognized. So that was the most challenging element I had to overcome.
Yeah, when you think back, when you first started in your career, when you first started with Anatomage, who were some of the role models that you looked at, or and who do you respect now?
Right. So at that time, there's guy John Kim. He is the founder of Yuri System, and then later on he became CEO of Bell Lab. He is also Korean, grew up very poor, and then he had to overcome everything by himself, and he demonstrated that he can achieve American dream here, and then he started that Yuri System company. So that was a big inspiration for me. So I wanted to be somebody like him. So, that's a big influence for starting company. But as I running the company over 18 years, now my role model is the famous Benjamin Franklin. And the reason is, he was also an entrepreneur too, and he was very successful business person. But, he decided to do something beyond the business. He wanted to do something that he likes. So he spent a lot of time on inventions. And then later on, toward the end of his life, he did something very meaningful, which is, founding America. So I thought that is my good role model.
That's so interesting. Yeah, Benjamin Franklin, what a great role model. I mentioned in the introduction the amazing work culture that you've created based on the folks that I've been working with and working with you. What would you say are some of the, for the other folks out there running companies, are some of the most effective ways that you're communicating to your employees?
Yeah, so our company still, we have about 100 employees here in California. It's still kind of relatively small company. So I'm able to spend a lot of time with many of my employees, not only the senior managers, so that I have a more chance to talk to them, understand them, and work with them. That help me really communicate well with my employees, and then so that we can be the same page, we can collaborate together, and that they can share my vision as well. So that was my way of communicating with my employees.
Yeah, it sounds like promoting collaboration is really key in the work that you do.
That is correct.
All right, let's talk a little bit about the product, your Halo product, the Anatomage table. Can you describe for our listeners what the table is?
The table is a virtual dissection table, we call it. It is a tool to help medical or any healthcare related students to learn human anatomy and other medical information. So we created the most comprehensive and accurate human body in digital form. The data is actually from the real human cadaver, and we reconstruct that into very accurate and highly detailed 3D interactive data. And students can peel off each layer and interact with the system and understand the functional relationship so that they can learn the human anatomy. So that is our Anatomage table.
And talk a little bit about the people that are purchasing the table. Who are the users?
So it started as a product for medical school, but it gradually more and more colleges, who cannot afford to have a cadaver lab, start to adopt this product. And then, we have a large number of colleges and undergraduate programs use our product, but recently even high schools started using our Anatomage table too. In high school, they get to do, animal dissection, but what they really want to teach is human anatomy and human medical terms. So our, Anatomage table helps for the students to learn medical terms without really going through the real dissections.
Yeah, without having used real cadavers. That's interesting. When I think about the impact your technology is having in schools, and I've even seen junior highs and high schools, like you mentioned, obviously top rated medical institutions using it, but you're really playing a key role in inspiring a younger generation to seek careers in health. And I'm sure you've seen this impact firsthand. Are there any stories you can share about teachers or students that have been inspired by using the Anatomage table?
Yeah, so what I remember is when I had chance to go to Latin America, Um, there's very tiny small school, Catholic school, in very small town in Mexico. And then I saw that little girls using Anatomage table studying medicine. When I see their faces, so passionate about learning, and then, they are all, standing around our table. And just looking at that really made me feel, something that I'm doing is something meaningful. And, all these small town in this remote world they are still want to learn about this medicine and they want to be doctor or nurse, whatever, in the future. Just we can help them. That made me feel very good.
Yeah, you really are inspiring a new generation of uh, the younger generation, who want to get involved in health, and that's really exciting. And another piece of that, I know, it's a great story, Jack. But another piece of that is the Anatomage tournament, which I'd love for you to tell our listeners what that is, and how it started.
Yeah. So Anatomage tournament is a competition between high school students on a subject of human anatomy. So it is kind of spelling bee, but it is anatomy bee for high school students. So we created this event 2018 as a small event, but students loved it. They enjoy always competition, and then they collaborate together and compete each other on anatomical terms using our Anatomage table. And so it has grown significantly over a few years, and as of this year, we had more than 1,000 high schools participated in our Anatomage tournament, and the students love it. And of course, teachers and parents love that too. So it's exciting program, but also it's very academic and something that we feel, the students are proud of knowledge, and then it's also entertaining as well.
And how does the judging, how does it determine who wins the competition?
Oh, it's just like the game, it just a score. They get score, highest score, they win.
Wow, that's interesting. That's great. Inspiring those kids. It's awesome. When you think about the company's greatest strength right now, what is it in your opinion?
Yeah, so we have been working on this medical imaging and medical visualization over 18 years, and we have created a technology that is more advanced than anybody else. And using that technology, we created this wonderful 3D human bodies that is highly accurate and the most comprehensive human anatomy. And what I believe is this human anatomy does not change over the years. All the other technology could be a trendy, it can come and go, but our body does not change. And what we created will be used for long, long time, maybe over 100 years, maybe thousands of years. So what I created is very the most advanced one, and it'll last forever. So that's what I think is our strength.
And you just talked about sort of the origins of, and I'm curious where the cadavers came from that you digitized.
Yes, the initial ones from the public data, the NIH project back in 1998. It was called the Visible Human Project. So they froze real cadaver and then did a sequential slicing and took a large number of images. So that was a project, and then that data was available in public domain, but nothing happened over 20 years. Then when we put together those images and created 3D data and make that into interactive software, so it becomes more meaningful. So we are now working with other medical schools to get more data only the person who donated their body for medical education continue to sequential slicing and take images. And it takes 1 year to acquire one single person's data, and it takes another year to create the comprehensive 3D models. So those are the sources of our data.
If you're just tuning in, I'm Joe Foster, and you're listening to Fin Voices on Healthcare Now Radio. Today, we are talking to Jack Choi about the company he founded, Anatomage. Anatomage is a digital healthcare platform dedicated to improving the quality of life for all people. Anatomage specializes in bringing accurate medical solutions to healthcare providers and inspiring the next generation of health professionals across the globe. Welcome back, Jack.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's so great to have you here today. And I did want to follow up a little bit more on our last tail end of that last conversation about where the cadavers came from. Is it just humans, or are you also working with animals? And I think there's a dental piece to this too, isn't there?
Yes. So we have gross human bodies, but we also have a large number of pathological examples. So we have 1,500 real human medical images that represents various different kind of diseases. And also we have hundreds of animal scans as well. So we are also building the level of detail, animal anatomical data.
So you've got veterinary schools that are using the product as well.
Yes.
Wow. And let's talk about now. Let's talk about what's happening now with Anatomage and give our listeners a sense of any new products or kind of what's happening now and what's down the road.
So what we created is the data that can be used for medical education. So we would like to make that data available in different platforms as well. So not only the life-size Anatomage table, we also made it available on the much smaller tablet form. So Anatomage tablet. And also, we have very strong, demand from academia. They want some kind of VR-based educational tool. So we created a VR version of our system. So user can use the goggle and see the cadaver in that metaverse, the virtual world. And also, with this pandemic time, so a lot of most of school closed, the on-site school. So we created some kind of remote solution so that they can still use our product over a web browser. So we created that remote web-based solution as well.
So so you've got this growth in digital learning and virtual classrooms, but during COVID, the students were able to access the cadaver and do their work and their lessons remotely, and you made that easier for them.
Right.
That's great. And on that front, anything new, anything else that you'd like to tell our listeners about what's happening or what we can expect in the future?
Yeah, so we are continuously making progress on our Anatomage table, adding more data, and also adding additional functions. At the same time, we would like to do something for science lab as well. So we are working on a science table that students can do experiments virtually. And I think it'll be a very exciting product. So I'm looking forward that product to be released. Yeah, so, this old system, since it's digital, we would like to make that adaptable, customizable, and then also students and teachers can interactable.
Got it. And how many cadavers right now do folks have access to who have the table?
So the full body, we have about seven bodies. And for regional, we have a lot more.
Yeah. And now this is outside of the US too. So you've got people using the products outside all over the world?
Yes. So we have over 3,000 customers worldwide. Majority of them is in US, but we have several hundred customers outside US as well.
Wow. Okay. And yeah, so the VR, I know you announced the VR goggles this year. Is that going well?
We have quite a lot of interest from the schools. It's a new product, so it's gonna take a while until we really hear the feedback. But the current initial feedback seems to be very positive.
That's great. And you know, as a teaching tool, we talked a lot about that. And we talked about the Anatomage tournament. How else is the table being used as far as I assume there's got to be um, a, a need for it with medical products development, things like that, um, testing out new innovations in medicine.
Yes. So our product is used for medical device company for developing new medical device or training doctors using their medical devices. So we have that medical device development and training purpose. And also our Anatomage table have FDA clearance for medical diagnosis and surgical planning. So some hospitals use our Anatomage table for diagnosis and some kind of surgical planning. And also some location, they use this for forensic purpose. So medical examiners use our table to virtual autopsy of whatever they need to do. So we have that cases as well.
So yeah, the virtual autopsy, that makes complete sense. Can you also do a virtual surgery?
Yes, the virtual surgery is mainly for training purpose. Yes, we can do virtual surgery or virtual implant placement or catheter procedure simulations. We can do that too.
Wow, that's so interesting. And what would you say is right now is like your biggest growth area as far as like who the users, what category is it more in schools or is it more the healthcare providers?
As of now, the biggest growth sector is, K-12, especially high school. We are surprised that so many high schools are interested in medical technology and medical education. So there are a lot of young students who want to go into medical professions. So, our table seems to be a very good tool helping those students.
Wow, okay. Well, is there anything else that you want to tell our listeners about Anatomage and about your work?
Yeah, so what we do here is we are proud that we are creating something that can be used for generations and generations. This is not only for us, our next generation and the following generation still can use the data we created for learning medicine and also training doctors. So in that perspective, I'm very proud of what we are doing. And then our employees, also proud of what they are accomplishing while working here in Anatomage.
Oh, that's great. Well, thank you, Jack. We appreciate you joining Fin Voices on Healthcare Now Radio today. For the audience, you can learn more about Anatomage and Jack by visiting anatomage.com or visiting the company's Twitter page at Anatomage. I'm Joe Foster with Fin Partners, and you can follow me at FosterFriend on Twitter. And please continue the conversation using the hashtag FinVoices. I highly recommend that you actually go to the Anatomage website to see the technology in action, and we can talk about it here for another hour or two. But it really, looking at the videos and seeing the table itself is really it's remarkable. So I do want everyone to go visit the website. And I'm sure our listeners found today's conversation illuminating, learning more about you and Anatomage's impact, providing health solutions to people across the globe. Jack, you're making a real difference in what you're doing. Carry on.
Thank you, Joe. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. This is your host, Joe Foster, and I'm a partner at the global marketing and communications firm Finn Partners, and I'm based in Portland, Oregon. Finn Voices is brought to you by Finn Partners, a global marketing and communications agency working across industries and services. Whether inside our walls or on the front lines of health transformation, we stand together to create meaningful and measurable impact on the world around us. Learn more at finnpartners.com and follow us on Twitter @FinnPartners.